Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Story in Verse. So I am your host for this evening. If you couldn't hear me clomping around, my name is Brass Rabbit, and I'm so excited to see all of you guys here today for another evening of poetry, spoken word, storytelling, and anything else you can fit in between. As you've noticed, we are back here in the Solley Theater, thanks to the Arts Council of Princeton. We have some new props. So you guys please take advantage of our carpet. I know, it's different, it's new, it's not a stage. We did a stage one time, we have a carpet now. We're growing. So as you guys can tell, we have an open theme tonight. That in essence means that kind of anything goes. I love open themes because at the end we can all kind of crowdsource what the theme naturally became. See if we had any common ground, which often happens, believe it or not. So we have an open theme. As you all know, we also have a time limit. There are hundreds of you here, so we're gonna have to stick to that. You got 5 minutes when you get up on this stage. That includes your preamble, your plugs for your mixtape, your Instagram, whatever else it is that you're gonna wanna tell us. That is going to include that 5 minutes, so please stick to it. You can preamble afterwards if you so need to plug anything that's gonna be coming up or going on when we are done the event. So you've got 5 minutes, we have a timer for that. When your 5 minutes is reached, you're going to hear. All right, so that is your signal that you need to skip lines. You need to be getting to the end. You need to be wrapping it up. If you do not do that, at the mark of about 6 minutes, which is when we are all going to be sweating bullets, you're going to hear. All right, that means that you need to get off the stage. Yeah, exactly. So that means that you need to wrap things up because we have 140 people who will be going after you. We want to try to keep this train moving. As you guys know, we have micro stories that I will be slotting in between. Those are little tiny poetry pieces that are anonymous that I get to read from those of you who are listening tonight and maybe not participating, which I absolutely adore. Let's see, we've got 5 minutes for everyone. We're actually sticking to the time today. We have an open theme. I want to give an exceptionally loud thank you to Mr. Marc, our pianist. Marc will be playing you guys in and on and out of the stage, so please do look forward to that. Very big thank you to the Arts Council of Princeton, and I am so excited for the first time in a long time. Actually, no, it's the first time ever. I'm going to call someone who I always close with to start us off. Everyone, please put your hands together for Mr. Michael DeMann.
I don't want to be vague, Princeton. But I don't want to be vulgar, pushing around this last bit of my soul like it's a boulder, impossible to move. It's as if we're stuck, backed and buried far into a claustrophobic corner, shoulder to shoulder with what just feels like the world getting catastrophically colder. But with you, I feel warm. Two jaded cedars, buried deeper into the soil, farthest in the forest, just trying our damn hardest, Princeton Arts Council, to survive. Thank you. I love open theme. Thank you, Brass Rabbit. Billy Joel, thank you so much for playing piano with us tonight. So there's a lot of you. I'm going to keep it going. I have 2 more pieces. I just put out a collaborative art piece today on something I just wrote from when I used to live in New Brunswick, which is not a place you want to live. Come live here in Princeton. Come live here in Princeton. So, all right, this one's called Dizzy Dreamers. I stopped writing EDM when I realized, how can you write house in a studio apartment? How can you make love in a broken bed with springs poking through into your spine screaming, will the rent be paid on time? Or will this moldy mattress still exist next week for a place to rest my head while I scheme of the next opportunity to shine brighter than the sunrise, placing beams of light into my lover's eyes? Will we still be wolves howling at the world as it spins and spins and spins? I'm dizzy, dreaming of how when I first started writing music, the tips of my fingers let the sound pave the way to new cities. But now I only hear ambulance sirens and desperate mothers crying on Persian red pavement. Their dying sons drenched on Division Street couldn't be saved by anything other than their environment. So I traipsed back to my obsolete Pioneer mixer in 4 empty whitewashed walls to baste in my thoughts of one day owning a home so I can finally hit the club and show the world what house music really sounds like. Thank you. Really quick. Okay, oh, thank you. Oh, 2.5 minutes. All right, so I'll do 10 more. Okay. All right, so I got one more before Billy Joel plays me off. So, my name is Michael DeMann. I'm a poet and prose writer from Jersey City, New Jersey. There is a show on PBS coming out called Voices in the Garden that features me and a bunch of other poets. That's coming out in this. Oh my God, December's fucking next week. December, and keep an eye out for it. Caroline and I are here representing the New Jersey Poetry Renaissance tonight. Hell yeah, thank you. So there is an old animation studio that used to be in Nickelodeon called Klasky Csupo, and they wrote Rugrats. I almost said sorry for that. They wrote Rugrats, they wrote Rocket Power, they wrote As Told by Ginger, kind of like 90s, early 2000s cartoons, and I mentioned them in this piece. The bristles scratch the frame. The canvas bears coarse structure of avant-garde juncture where creativity places its minds. The degenerate dreamers we find delving on Main Street are armed with art. Their suffering soccer cleats remain ripping the sod from gardens grown graciously from our tears and bone. The clavicles we speak of when we were last touched by something that felt like the angel of death, yet we still fell in love because nothing grasps you at the throat more than the eyes you get lost in. And I'll depict every detail of the retinas that made me feel like my home was burning, but the heat always kept us warm. And the Roku television screen scrolled until I found an old Klasky Csupo show to lull us back to sleep so the house can become frozen again. I always thought I enjoyed the temperature, Princeton, but sometimes I'm better off being cold. Thank you. November 29th, Long Branch, New Jersey. That's my next show. Come see me if you have any questions.
Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. I was surprised to find that I actually could teach Shakespeare to high school students. Whether or not they enjoyed it is an entirely different matter. All right, please put your hands together. Up next for Angela S. Angela, come on up. We're gonna sit. All right, I've never been here before.
It's been a few years since I've done any talking out loud in front of people, but I figured I'd come here today. All right. This one's called I Think I Know More Than I Thought I Thought. Your insecurities, they radiate through a mask of false confidence and robust monologues. You soliloquize through those liquid eyes, all while your liver cried for help so loud, but you couldn't hear it over your own ego. But what do I know? I know you could have had Shakespeare fall at your feet, a true magician, a master of misdirection. You spent your life grasping at straws and somehow made your absence throw people into withdrawal. Just when I thought I finally started seeing through your facade, you somehow still left me convinced that it was my sanity that has been robbed. You remind me that just because you showed me the Book of the Beast did not mean that I have to sign my name in it. But it damn sure felt right at the time. I still can't believe that that book I read all those years ago is the same one that had once appeared so divine. But just like you've told me so many times before, you can't always trust your own eyes. That maybe it was in fact me who was at fault this whole entire time. I spent so many years looking at you as the light that guided me out of a deep, dark well that I can't even remember when I realized that I had to look up to see rock bottom. That I know a paradox when I see one, and you are the walking, living, breathing version of it. The epitome of you'll never have it as bad as me because the only thing that you care about is self-validity. So I think that maybe it's time that you listen to me when I say that I think I know what I'm talking about. Woo! All right, I think I can make that work. 2 minutes and 55 seconds. The 6 senses of falling out of love. 1, you start to see it and it begins in the eyes. Their eyes don't swell like the ocean at sunrise for you anymore. They turn into the quiet stream straying away from the river. Once wide, bright, curious, like the harvest moon slowly starts to engulf with dark clouds, and at this point, it is your own eyes that you don't trust, and you believe that just like the ocean, the moon, they will cycle and saturate with wonder once again. And 2, you'll start to hear the tone change so subtly in their voice, still soft and gentle, but somehow less genuine. You can still hear them say, I love you, but you can't remember when those words used to sound like a crackling fire. All you know is now it sounds like the low breeze brushing over freshly fallen snow in the middle of the Antarctic winter. At this point, you convince yourself it's merely your own hearing that is in question, and perhaps the changing of the seasons is stuffing up your ears. 3, you hardly even notice the kitchen doesn't smell the same like it used to. Once filled with fresh garlic and lemon, so warm and welcoming to the soul, it is now replaced with the scent of over-processed takeout food. The candles have all burned out, and neither of you care to replace them. You figure you both have just been too busy that day. 4, you sit in your car each night after work before entering the house, and you wonder where this bad taste in your mouth is coming from, slightly turning your stomach sour just as their kiss will do to you soon enough. You start to wonder if maybe you forgot to brush your teeth that day. 5, you start to unfold one night when you're each laying beside each other in bed, where you once encompassed each other so passionately, almost as if you became one person. Now you're tossing, turning, and you don't know why, until your foot brushes against theirs and they pull it away, as if somebody had lit a match off of their body. You ease your mind by telling yourself that it is more warm in the bedroom than the rest of the house. 6, you're home alone, sitting with yourself, wondering why your heart is so full of love, yet it still feels too heavy to hold. It's getting hard to stand here, yet it's too hard to breathe when you lay down. So you just sit, and you're uncomfortable. This feeling has no explanation, no justification, unshakable no matter how you rationalize it. It's your 6th sense that cannot be perverse. It is your most undeniable truth with your eyes, your ears, your smell, your taste, and your touch, all susceptible to doubt when we are taught at a young age that seeing is believing, that if a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, that it may not have actually happened, that some people will hate the same smell you love, that touching the person you love felt like being engulfed in what you can only imagine heaven's light would feel like, but feel like stepping on hot coals to them. You realize that no matter the bargain you make, your heart can never give in, so it's best to listen to what it has to say, even if that means falling out of love. Thank you.
All right. Our next performer, for those of you who are not performing tonight and you have not seen our sign-up piece of papers, there is a tiny space that says anything else you'd like us to know about you. And this performer wrote, I just moved from India, and this is my first time here. I am nervous. So please, Give a very, very, very warm story and verse welcome to Ranjini. Ranjini, come on up.
I'm going to recite a poem, and I've named it Crawling into Your Womb. Also, I use the word amma, which means mother, in many Indian languages, so I just wanted you to know that. These adverts are getting to me, amma. People have put a price on everything, dreams, water, time. But nobody tells me the price of crawling back into your womb, where I might have felt the most at peace. In a world where travel to space is a possibility, why isn't traveling back in time a possibility? You say you want that too, but if you could, would you really do all of it all over again? I wouldn't. Not all of it. But crawling back into your womb, I would. Perhaps I could stop feeling so strongly, stop feeling everything all at once, unbothered by how little space there was in your womb. Where I didn't fear the dark, for darkness was bliss. Where you celebrated my tiny movements, where I wasn't expected to keep up appearances, where I didn't have to wonder if I was loved by people who didn't really matter, where I didn't feel this hollow. You loved me, Amma, and that's all that mattered. You loved me enough to flee hell, to save me from the fires and wolves, to build a home for me. I want to be as strong as you, Amma, but on some days I fear that I'm not, that all your efforts would have been in vain. Sometimes I look at the creature in the mirror and wonder how something as messed up as this came out of someone as magnificent as you, which is when I wish to crawl back into your womb, Amma. This world is not meant for people like me. We don't bend, we break. We can't be tamed, we implode. But then I look at you, soft, kind, strong, untamed, and you love me. And everything makes sense. Because how could something as messed up as this come without a little bit of that magic of yours? Thank you.
So many pieces of paper. I don't know if you guys can tell. There's like hundreds of pieces of paper that I'm shuffling through. All right. Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. When my retinas survived my welding workshop. All right, please put your hands together. Up next for Sunny. Sunny, come on up.
Been here in a while. My name is Sunny. I use he, him, his pronouns. 5 minutes. I am going to tell a very brief story, and then I'm going to read a short piece of poetry. But again, my name is Sunny. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm in my 30s. I'm a transgender man, and I'm happy to be here. I have a lot of privileges. I also have a lot of relative privileges, so there's a lot of tough stuff trying to navigating and such, but just as a general PSA, obviously, we all have relative privileges going on. Short story, just a storytelling moment, nothing written down. So I mentioned I'm trans, right? And I've had, a number of kind of general conversations with family members. And they're mostly, I'm extremely fortunate, right? I mean, like, in New Jersey, I grew up in New Jersey, etc. And so like the past few years or so, I came out like 2018, 2019, and began, mentally transitioning, just an overview, 2020. And so I began having these conversations with my, family, and, I didn't expect them, there's no expectation for them to know anything, everything. But I just, I wished for a willingness for them to kind of hear and like, give some space and just kind of have a conversation and check in and just interact as humans, have a conversation. That's worth to me, certainly, with my family more than anything. So it was they're mostly very supportive, but they're rough edges. There was a time when I met up with my father at a local diner down here, and I sat down. It was like I had taken space from them because it was getting rough, variety of reasons, personal, family, etc., transness, queerness, etc. And he and I decided to meet at a diner, and we were having this kind of meandering conversation. And at one point, I have this whole history of kind of difficult mental health, and my father says things like, has said this thing previously. He interprets me as an impatient person. I didn't finish college, stuff like that, and this came up in conversation with him and I. And I paused for a minute. I looked at him and I was kind of like, listen, so I can see based on, the number of jobs I've had and, not held down and, all these moments that I've like needed you for support, I could see how you could, say, I think you're impatient. But I don't think that's actually true. I think that's something that people have said about me and kind of told me from the outside. This is who you are. This is what you're like. I'm telling you how you are. And that particular moment felt so meaningful to me, right? It was not an easy moment. I was so happy that he could take space with me in that moment. And I could be kind of gently, like, hey, you're not right. You gotta listen to me. Give me some space, give me some grace, like, let's talk, right? I ask everybody in this room, please remember that, right? We can just talk. We can give space to each other, So thanks for listening to my little meandering story. I hope you'll forgive me. I was just, it's been rough, so I just felt inclined to say that. But now I have an actual piece of poetry that is pretty short. I know I am probably strapped for time. Shame is my throat tightening, vocal cords constricting, crushed of the air of words. Even now, with a voice a bit more based, deeper and steadier. Times come when my own fear, still with me, still seething, clenches the very breath from me. My hands are tired, trembling doves. I've grown to accept this. All of us know the breath is stolen from me sometimes. I have dreams of open plains, of tall waving grasses, the wind a balm, a palm to stroke my face, my neck. I have dreams of no other people there. I have dreams of staying still enough to feel that it's worth writing, that the words have some weight, just enough to catch the air, to take to a breeze and lift, swiftly and unfaltering, unashamed. There are times I feel so lucid, mentally propelled so clearly and simply, so immune to obstacle, that it's like my sentence lifts like a kite. It's like any shame I've ever experienced shows itself for the costume it was for another. When I sit with my friends, the people in my community who know my anxiety, my atrocious mental health, and still stay, and still listen. It is like being held by a warm updraft. There are friends I have who are as bright as a nimbus cloud. There are friends I have who hold thunder but not lightning. There are friends I have who become steeped in rain when they're lost in thought. And we all, every one of us, have taken each of these shapes at one time or another. All of us, steady in our change. All of us carefully crafted like a kite. All of us, a masterpiece suspended in midair.
So I have a very selfish announcement. I don't often ask things of this group of people, but in my own self-interest, I have noticed that we've never done one of those awful, awkward group photos at the end of something, and I would like one. So if you guys have the capacity to hang out till the end, we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna put it in my house, and we're gonna put it on the internet. So please, just stay. It doesn't have to be like, we don't have to look good, like it's fine. All right, please put your hands together for our next performer, Shira.
Remember this moment?
No, it's just that, like, we're all terrified, and, like, we get up here and we're like, if I don't look at them, they're not there. I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote about a friend a long time ago. Okay. This is called The Boat Graveyard. Let's go to the boat graveyard. That's what we called it. Boats all turned upside down, the rims and seats face down in the wet earth. When was that, Kate? Was that in the spring? In my mind it was, but that wouldn't make any sense. Why would they all be turned upside down when the weather is coming? The good kind of weather. Everyone always says the weather's coming like it's the bad kind. And it must have been autumn, not spring. They share similar wetnesses. Wet from decay, wet from beginnings. Those metal and wooden upturned tombs, effigies bored into earth, great stones from an ancient burial ground. They would leave eye-shaped grooves in the dirt, almond from the rim, cat slits down the middle from the seats for pupils. We don't feel watched so much as watched over. So we sat there, tomb to tomb, eating our sandwiches. Shared silence is the highest form of intimacy. I thought, how perfect of you to bring me here. You're such a writer, I thought. We looked on at that shimmering reservoir where it would have been blue. It was all a varying shade of gunmetal that day. The sky, the water, all of it. So we sat and looked, and I could feel parts of myself reorganizing, organs being set back in their right places, my heart sinking back down into its rib house, and other things besides, all getting sorted and shifted, coming back together where I hadn't noticed that the city had mixed them all up. Looking out at that vast water, there is never not a longing and a peace all at once, yearning to return and feeling returned to. We took big, thinky bites out of those sandwiches from the diner, and I watched you carefully peel the chicken apart from the bread so you wouldn't get sick later. I saw then the governance of a confounding body with confounding, painful mysteries, and you, its reluctant resident, determined, resentful, yet never losing your reverence, your awe for the machinery. And to think I was lucky enough to get to be in the orbit of my brave friend, loving them through being face down in the dirt with all of that.
Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. When I told a man in a hardware store he was an asshole. As he walked out the door, he swung back around into the store and said, "What'd you say?" I then screamed, "I said you're an asshole!"
All right, up next to the mic, we have someone who is super duper immensely grateful for this safe space you have built. Please put your hands together for Mauricio. Mauricio, come on up.
Hey guys, good evening.
Evening.
2 months ago, a piano player asked me if I wrote. I said, a little bit. I lied. Writing is a bigger part of my core that I'd like to admit. Those who love me dear know, but it's been years. I write to expose my wrongs, to keep caged feelings that need to be, to restrain thoughts that should be, to transform the beastly into beautiful, to give memories and ideas free rein like horses on a land galloping. When the mission is clear, I ought to Hidalgo like Viggo Mortensen. His character is half Native American in the movie Hidalgo. It helps me make sense of my duality as an Honduran American, like his Native American. I write because there's gotta be at least one writer in my family who rides waves of uncharted waters, who isn't afraid to leap and give testimony of our labors. And they are plenty, accomplished across generations, from papa to abuela, to bisabuela, to tatarabuela, to a few of my primos, from dad to grandmother, to great-grandmother, to great-great-grandmother, to some of my cousins. From La Ceiba, Honduras, to Ewing, New Jersey. I call that a great inheritance. I write so that the world may know the glory in our story, that roses do grow out of concrete, that flowers also grow out of dirt floors and Central American soil, and that they still grow even when they're transplanted to other Americas. North, South, we're similar. I write because spoken word healed my stutter when I was in middle school. It made my spirit better. It gave my voice sound, and I am now better for it. And that's the truth. Thank you.
God, you're so good at that.
You're so good. Look at you. All right, up next to the mic, please put your hands together for a poem by Linda Lanza. Linda, come on up.
Good evening. This is a Mimesis poem from my book, Particles of Exchange. It's called Mining for Eureka. The epigraph is a line from Diane Ackerman's book, Natural History of the Senses. And the line is, smell is the mute sense, the one without words. A helicopter looms over the front yard. 2 police commiserate in the bedroom, note the folds, position of sheets, the fist hole through sheetrock, the uncurtained window. A forensic specialist surveys the muddied courtyard behind my house for footprints, traces, tracks. A uniformed man sits at the chopping block square of my kitchen table, jotting marks in a spiral notebook. What did he look like? He was tall. I can make my voice say, about 5'11", I say, eyeing the tall man standing next to him. Give us a description so we can look for him. Tall cop's query fails to yield the needed clue to identify the intruder. His smell, I try to describe. He smelled of pheromones singular as fingerprints the rain has washed from my front room window, he pried loose. Turn over, hissed the voice through shafts of moonlight casting his shadow on my bed. A mid-range tenor, a Nevada accent. How much registers in 3 notes of a stranger's voice? He was thin, about 150, blonde, I respond. The standing officer zooms through the door into the beam of the whirlybird churning July air. What else, the jotter wants to know. Did you know him? No, I say, only now his smell I know. The smell. The cop cocks a brow, scribbles. What else? Socks, no shoes. What else? A photographer snaps shots of my pummeled face, the penknife sliver on my left breast. You're gonna feel it more in the morning, he tries to soothe me. What else? A white t-shirt pulled over his head to mask his face, came off in the fight. Punched against the wall, I saw stars, the fear in his face. Amateur, said a cop, probably a neighbor. I am not reassured. How long did he practice in his tract house, jimmying an identical front window, secure he'd gotten his timing down to a rainy weather report? The question flees. My mind is investigating soul tracks, imprints left a half hour ago, probably only 10 minutes. Sniffing inner crevices, a hound scenting underbrush for fox, searching for smell words to say without equivocation, yes, he did this. Come down tomorrow, look at books, see his picture, kitchen cop says to a cloud outside the margin of my hearing. Eyes and ears are not tools for the sense my ravaged core is honing. My nose is turned inward to the grindstone, whirling encyclopedically through every dirty shirt I've laundered, every sweaty man I've bumped against, every molecule I've ever breathed, labeling and discarding, sifting and cataloging, digging in pyrite, mining for eureka. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. Here I am. I got up once for public speaking in 7th grade and completely locked up. Could not say a word. There was no reason for it, and thank God it never happened again. All right, up next to the mic, please put your hands together for Nicolo. Nicolo, come on up.
Hi everyone, hi. My name's Nicolo. Such a great event, feeling very grateful to be here for the first time. I tried to write poetry that didn't deal with a sense of self at all, or any kind of identity. I thought I could avoid that somehow. I thought it wasn't necessary. A while ago I stopped doing that, and it helps a lot. This poem's called On Being Young. In the mornings, I stoop over a low stovetop or bend at the waist to reach the faucet. I live in a world built for someone shorter. My head scrapes the showers, in bed my feet dangle. Nearly everyone I meet stands below my eye line. My neck keels in conversation and my shoulders stoop. An incongruity I fear will prove disastrous for the body. For now, I feel no pain, but know my youth, its expectations, its arrogant snubbing of change, and I must acknowledge that one day I will hurt in ways I cannot fathom. Those who stand taller, I unconsciously avoid. I spend much of my time in this haze of unrecognition, failing to notice the bend at my waist, the draft on my toes, how I hold at odd angles. Only in the mornings, before dawn, as I contort myself into a vinyasa of postures toward the day's exchanges, the flow of body, language, and self, do I catch a glimpse of what must always hang at eye level? Arms raised, palms open, spine straight, shoulders back, head as if hung from the ceiling by a string, unbent, standing, back, facing an ache. So let's do one more. This poem is called Instructions. It's written after a Jeffrey Thompson poem called The Tale of the Alphabet. It starts out with an epigraph from Gloria Anzaldúa. Language is a male discourse. Begin from a place of myth. After all, this is where places come from. Tell it clearly, starting with the basics. Who was there in that human world? What they said, the stories told in their wake. When you use metaphor, do it modernly, like a dial tone. Write in paragraphs. Foreshadow the conflict of your story by introducing the presence of the gods, the self-defeating nature of their gifts, divine objects all that bring suffering. Remind your reader of whose name you sing, on whom in perceiving you enact violence. Name her here. Then admit conflict, in this case the gift of the written word, its incapacity to represent its beguiling facsimile of the landscape, how it hammered the spirit into the shape of the psyche and left us further from heaven than when we started. Now, remember the irony of what you're doing and try to phrase it somehow as if you're not in mourning. Thank you.
Our next performer wrote in anything else you'd like us to know about you. Just happy to be here. You'd be shocked at the amount of smiley faces that I get every night when we do this. I've had like 8 so far. Please put your hands together for Zoe Lincoln. Zoe, come on up. Hello there. Oh my gosh, there is a lot of people. I'm scared.
I appreciated what you did with like taking everybody in, so I might do that. Okay. I'm gonna start with this poem that I wrote recently, and I think all of these that I'm gonna do I haven't read out loud yet, so. Ooh, new shit. Okay. It's called Off the Beaten Path. You've been lost, hopelessly lost in this infinite dark wood for as long as you can remember. The earpiece pretty much never shuts up. The incessant instructions. It's guided you your whole straight and narrow, still spontaneously combusting life. Towards the promise, of course, the dangled carrot of a clearing, of a life beyond. The never-ending promise of a life, period, someday. But you've been trapped here for so long. Your legs are so tired. You're so tired. Your heart is getting scared. Earpiece commands you, just get through this stretch. Never mind, it never seems to end. Maybe the next, keep going. You're coming down with something like feverish doubt. You're beginning to suspect your guides in these woods are just as lost as you are, pulling you in deeper with each stab in the dark. You're beginning to suspect there's been a drunk driver behind the wheel steering your whole life. Maybe you weren't supposed to have this many crashes, this many faded bruises simmering under your skin. When you finally got just one brave night with no garbled voice drowning out your head, just quiet, you confided your fears to the treetop birds in a whisper. They sang, laughed, shrugged, and told you, you worry, but you've options. You're here, aren't you? You could drive. No way, you scoffed. Are you kidding? I don't have a clue. I don't know how. But you can learn. You've got a brain and hands, don't you? You're not the first to find that big abandoned lighthouse. The one beacon you've been given cannot be everything you need. Child, everything you have right now is temporary. And so is everything you think you are and aren't. And then the birds flew away, up into the blue sky like wishes, driving themselves just fine, steady wings, no hatchet, leaving you behind there in the green, verdant, empty dark, thinking, what if you didn't listen the next time they tell you to stop or turn around? What if you listen to the tugging compass in your gut? Look, it's gotten dusty, rusty, rotting away. It is there staring at you, waiting to be used. Imagine if you really were just out here, hacking your way through the jungle with a machete and a vengeance and a just beginning, capital L, life. Wouldn't the woods of the world just look so much brighter? Wouldn't even the lost days sing? Thank you. Oh, wait, okay. Okay, I'm gonna see if I have time for a third one, but we're gonna do this one now. Oh, okay. This one is called All the Bells Say, and I think it's kind of connects, same stuff as the last one. All the bells say. The alarm bells in your head have been ringing so loudly for so very long, you have very nearly gone deaf to them. Or rather, you can sense them when they shake, like a shadow standing at your shoulder. All the bells say, insist, this isn't how life is supposed to feel. This isn't how life is supposed to be. Something must change and quick and soon. The bells don't want you to be scared. You don't listen. The bells are too sensitive, worrywarts, unreliable. They don't understand what is necessary to survive these days. The bells see the noose of polite burial ever tightening around your neck and scream, disturbing the peace, shrilly screaming, quiet down bells, quiet. They are sweet in how they want to warn you, but you leaned forward, didn't you? Like a good little corpseling. Have you known on some level all along, have you, darling? The bells are in your head, after all, burning a permanent hole in your belly, all that unused acid meant to be spit, meant to protect you from predatory threats. Maybe you should heed the wailing sirens. Maybe you should stop ignoring every warning sign. If you've practiced yourself into not feeling it, maybe you can bring the feeling back into your limbs again. It burns. That's part of it. It's supposed to hurt your ears. It's the bells of your body still in hope, ringing all throughout your blood, trying desperately to save your life. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. When I decided to move for the first time 640 miles away to a place after high school, it was chaos.
All right, please put your hands together for our dear friend for a poem, Mr. J.W. Lyric. Come on up.
Evening.
Your umbrella.
Nice.
We didn't get a queen. We got another king. And the court jesters are still present and at play. But it's still my America. This land is called the United States of America. But with so much division, it might as well be called the divided States of America. Or just simply America. This land with borders seen and unseen, the population are of many descendants. And this is their America. It is not red. It is not blue. It is one that is made up of people of all colors. In those words, these colors do not run. It's not in regards to just for the military. It's not about political postures or monochromatic patriots. Because children, those words hold true for people of color. And the minorities that were born here, they did not march, they did not protest, they neither bled or died for their human rights so they can run north of the border or south of the border because of adversity from an unjust majority in between the borders. This is their America. No matter the ruler, the mortal authorities, we shall not be denied life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And contrary to popular belief of demagogues and their minions, all men and all women are created equal. Like Woody Guthrie sang, "This land was made for you and me." And we, the people, say, it wasn't made for charlatans, it wasn't made for dictators, it wasn't made for false prophets, it wasn't made for oppressors. Yes, this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. Not just because we fought foreign enemies overseas, but because for civil rights we are fighting domestic enemies. Right here, right now. Regardless of the changing of the guard, whether it is one term or two, there is no resting on laurels because there is no, I can finally set my baggage down and rest. We still have a fight on our hands. This is my country. This is your country. it is still our country. Thank you.
I don't even know how this happened. All right, our next performer wrote that they will be sharing a piece about choosing between travel and a man. Please put your hands together for Ashley Z.
I don't know how long this thing is, so I'm just gonna hop to it. All right, so this one is called Who So Loved the World. With no one to hold, I ran into the arms of the world, and it received me. You're here now, and our love is like jewelry. It glitters in silver and gold. Please believe me, it's just that you seem to expect me somehow to leave the world behind, as if you are world enough, and it wasn't once upon a time that I belonged to the world, and in fair exchange, all the world was mine. I don't know if I can trade the world that is for a man. You wouldn't even want me to, I'm sure, if I could make you understand. Milan touched me first. It made me understand what thirst is, stroked the layers further in by peeling back my skin and sifting sorrows. How easy the breath of a virgin is to borrow. One doesn't even really have to try. It was as simple as Italy disrobing itself, and can you blame me? So did I. I slipped out of my rags and into my summer skin, and boy, let me just tell you, I have never felt so smooth or so fine. I was a martini of chilled top shelf gin with a twist of lime. Can you do that for me, lover? Can you make me feel divine? Like I'm 19 on the Ponte Vecchio, gazing at the river, head swimming on the current of my first sip of wine? Can I sink into you, lover, and you sink into me, like I sunk into Venice as it sunk into the sea? Could be that's how it'll be. We'll see. I'm just afraid a woman who has so loved the world is not easy to appease, especially when she's bested Vesuvius, only to stand here now, making you a fucking grilled cheese. Thank you, you're welcome. Shut up, please. The only time in my life I've gone willingly to my knees was when I bowed at the feet of the earth in the rice paddies of Thailand and emerged on the breeze of a worldview rebirth. You're beginning to understand me a little better now, I can see. So tell me, if you please, what do you think you are to the city walls of Dubrovnik? You ain't shit. I know male ego moves Olympus. We go way back in our battles, your egos and us. But between you and I, can that ego of yours really look me in the eye and say that you compare, compete, that you even come near to the sweat-infused and color-soaked atmosphere I basked in that day in the heat of Argentina? Mesmerized by the feet of a tango dancer who, stranger to fear, twirled in the mist of the cobblestone street and looked for all the world like that street was a stage and she the prima ballerina. Can you give that to me, lover? Moments of water to wine that explode the mind like a pop quiz and slow everything down until the bubble of reluctance that is my spirit is finally ripped out from what will be or has been and pasted into the right now, the as is. I want to live on your time, lover. Have you wrap it up in a nice bow and tell me it's mine, all mine, because the world gave me a lot of things, but time, that it did not. It wasn't the world's to give. Time comes with life and it ends with death, and at that last breath we slip into the void, unnoticed, unhurried.
in a dance so sublime that you see all of time in a great smear across the universe and you realize it only exists here, time, in this world of mine. Like the 9 pounds sterling I've been carrying around with me since I left Northern Ireland when I was 25, it does me no good here. I should have spent all I had well before the border guard appeared. I don't know the currency favored by the Milky Way, but it's not measured by a clock. And though blanket statements can smother, I feel cocky in saying that time will be worthless when we're in a box 6 feet under. You don't want to be one of those extravagant pharaohs, do you, lover? Sitting in your sarcophagus and admiring all your precious time while the world turns on above you. So give it to me instead. And I'll try my best to shake off my need to compare you two. It's not fair what I do. You are not the world, and the world isn't you. It is only a past lover who transfixed me, who coaxed and bewitched me from a woman into a woman from a girl, or a human from a ghost. You're here now, and our love is like jewelry, but the world's is like skin, and I can wear you both.
It's a lot to navigate, but I'm quite glad that we have so many props and objects that are, I think it's working. All right, up next to the mic, we are so happy to welcome him back for some poetry. Please put your hands together for Mr. Samir. Samir, come on up.
So the motto of our school, where I grew up in Delhi, was service before self. And we used to wear it on our coats, and we never understood what it meant. But I think we do now. So this is an attempt to understand that. It's called Somewhere on the Way. We start with the worship of God, but somewhere on the way we fall in love with people. Whether elders, guides, friends, or family, we come to nature and savor these bonds as they become the cornerstone of our lives. As you go higher in Turiya, you become more and more detached from people, from possessions and liquidity. But love actually deepens as you realize that in loving your people, you act in the service of God. And that is what the divine intention was anyway, to love all manifest creation until you find that God is present in all of us, just waiting to be discovered. And that discovery is enlightenment, the end of the quest and the beginning of conscious merger with him or her, the final salvation. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. I came out as bisexual at the age of 30. Who would have thought that? Certainly not me. All right, up next to the mic for some poems. Please put your hands together for Kayla. Kayla, come on up.
Just one poem. Hello. Hi. So I wrote this the other night. I stay up through the night, a time of calm, a time of comfort. The darkness doesn't hurt my eyes or my skin. The quiet doesn't hurt my ears. Peace. Night accepts me as I work on projects, as I dream while awake. I can unmask, focus, deep delve into the delicious things my mind craves to know. I can paint and draw. I can just be with no demands. It's just me and the entire universe. There is so much beauty. Stars, planets, comets, humans, the earth, flowers, rain, children with their laughter and play, adults with their complicated relationships, the wind, rainbows, cats, grass with raindrops reflecting tiny worlds, so beautiful, and so much. There is sorrow, hatred, pain, and fear that threaten to scratch, tear, consume, but also infinite joy, love, happiness, and hope for a better day. The colors of these are so bright, mixing with the rest in an overwhelming kaleidoscope. The vibrancy of this planet is astounding. We have limitless ability for kindness, compassion, love, and community. That's where my hope lies. In the night, I can look without the overwhelm. I can explore ideas. Night has a feel. It's like a warm, soft touch or a hug. My mind translates the night, as it does most other things, into many senses. Sight is touch, touch is sound, emotions are colors, tastes are textures and images. The night is quieter and not so much all at once, which allows me to look at possibilities without being burned. Thank you.
Okay, so our next performer said in the Anything Else You'd Like Us to Know About You, they shared, "I am willing to bribe people with food." Please put your hands together for William Beck.
Hi, everybody. Hi. And yeah, and you think I'm kidding about the bribing people for food part, but I'm really not, and it works. It totally works. So anyway, just briefly, I only have one poem that I decided to read tonight. I think it was probably inspired by JW to change my choice. But before that, just very briefly, event coming up through the Bayard-Rustin Center for Social Justice, which is the local LGBTQ community center and everybody center, right here in Princeton, I think walking distance, just about. And there's a Zoom event on December 3rd. It's a Zoom poetry event. There are two themes: uniting LGBTQ communities for change, and honoring LGBTQ communities. And then the second theme is paraphrased, but it's united in forward action. And anyone who's interested, or some people I've already talked to, but please see me after. And so thank you. There's one other thing I want to just briefly discuss, just to get this out of the way. And I will use my book O poetry for this. I, William Beck, do solemnly swear that I will never take the amount of time that I took to tell a story last time, ever again, by Robert Frost and Shakespeare and Anne Sexton and, Margaret Atwood and all other great poets, John Milton, whatever, I swear. Thank you. Okay. I was like, damn, I hope I didn't lose my place. This is titled, "Oh Say, Can You See?" Anthem for a Brave New Republic, or the Star-Spangled Banner Post-Election 2024 edition. Oh, say, can you see, by reason's cold pale light, that the freedoms we guard are so quickly disappearing? With our city lights and our theme bars, we've forgotten our plight, and bad TV we watch as the Bill of Rights is disappearing. And the rocket's red glare shows that we don't care. We don't really care. And they kill our foes and friends alike in the night, as our preachers say their war prayers. Oh, say, is that a MAGA banner I see being raised over the land of debris and the home of the slave? Thank you and have a good night. Please see me afterwards if you're interested. Thank you.
The fact that you so nonchalantly took half of the book and just went to stay there and then you picked up the rest of it. All right, tell us about a time you surprised yourself. I approached the prettiest woman at the Medley bar and we wound up dating. Put yourself over. All right, our next performer wrote in the anything else you'd like us to know about you. I just got a new job. Please put your hands together for Jess.
Thank you. I'm just really excited about capitalism. I mean, it's not that exciting. I have to have it anyway. I'm Jess. I write fantasy books and I'm a poet. I'm on Instagram, Jess Skull Teddy Author. If you type in Jess Skull, you'll find it. So I write a lot of poetry about my life. The first one needs a little bit of a prelude. So I was actually the micro story of the person who came out when I was 30 as bisexual. And I was married already for 7 years to a man, and telling him was like the most terrifying thing I've ever done. It was great. I mean, I get to live my normal life. We're not all cheaters, you know, we're not all polyamorous, not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, I'm so happy. My husband is a huge supporter. I get to be myself. It's great. So, I'm so glad. But, thank you. The reason I mention that is because, like, he knew that this happened, so it's not like, you know, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing going on. But I wanted to read a poem of something that happened to me earlier this year, and the poem is called "The Day a Woman Told Me I Was Beautiful." Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay. I know, I'm gonna try not to cry, okay. All right. I'll never forget the day I zipped up the new dress. I'd been lusting after it for months. Flowers blooming down the sides, a riot of rainbow color. I was a goddess. We went to a wedding, my husband and I hadn't felt beautiful like that in a long time. Sure, beauty is a word that we overemphasize, and it doesn't account for what's inside, but don't you want to feel beautiful too? A woman I didn't know pulled me aside and said, "You look beautiful," like that. It wasn't like, "Oh, your dress is lovely, where did you get it?" She spoke in a low voice in awe of my presence, my presence, my presence. I laughed and I said thank you and walked away, completely baffled and utterly pleased. There was no promise in those words, no action to follow, but even so, to be perceived as beautiful by a beautiful woman healed a part of me that hungered for love from boys when I was younger, healed a part of me that knows I'm not only attracted to men. Something so small, a comment so fleeting, "You look beautiful," and I was free. Thank you. My second and last poem is dedicated to my friend Zoe, who made me love this poem, even though I'm still like kind of not sure about it, so thank you. And Zoe also challenged me to wear that dress tonight that I just talked about, and I was like, I'm not prancing around Princeton in that dress. But it is on my Instagram somewhere, it's beautiful, I'm just saying. I do look beautiful, okay. So the second and last poem, if I can find it, is called "I Want You to Be a Little Afraid of Me." Okay. I want you to be a little afraid of me. When I was a young girl, I wanted to hide. I was too big for the clothes for sale in my small town. I was too tall for the class pictures. Pinch, squeeze, suck it in, fit in, go along with everything because it's too much to ask. You're too much to ask. I people-pleased my way through school. Now I'm a different person. I still feel out of place because the world isn't made for women like me. Tall, fat, queer, and childless. But I want you to be a little afraid of me. I want you to see me coming. I want you to raise an eyebrow, shrink back, hackles raised, words evaporating from your tongue. I want you to know who I am because I'm tired of hiding. And if there's nothing to hide anymore, if I can't be myself out loud, what's the point? I used to dream of being small enough for a man to hold me in his arms, because there was no possible way that was going to happen. Today I know that's possible, and so now I dream of being my biggest, best self, showing the whole world that there was never anything to be ashamed of in the first place. I dream of a world where other little girls dream of doing whatever they damn well want. Thank you.
All right, if we haven't been able to tell, I'm rationing micro stories, so you'll get one in a little bit. Up next to the microphone, please put your hands together for our dear friend, Nick. Come on.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
The birds flock by the water, 2 at a time, but there's over 5. They watch for one another, to protect one another. I would like to think I protect. What was I willing to protect at all costs? The secrets that kept me buried, because I was using it to chase the ghost. I flip items in the air. I wave a sign as I drive by. I did a lot of things in my time, to pass the time, to find my ghost, to protect my name, be the change, how work can interloop, 2 full-time jobs, but no part of me to see. I was the bird protecting you from the predators above and the ghosts below. I am no hero. I hate my story because it destroyed my ego. And to get it back means to grow as a new flower that has been in hell for too long. These walls I built to protect me from the cold, the countless times love was lost, how it can be warm and cold, but a protector inside, a beast I hate to tame, to find the human in me that was there before the bad times. So I live for every moment, every sip of water, because I am the bird that is watching, and you are the bird that is sipping. This one's a little deep. Who got the juice? The question is, do you know what the juice is? Being invincible, being intelligent? Could it be bittersweet juice? Could it be something that you lose yourself with? Imagine being the fruit. Everybody wants to be the body, everybody wants to be the chord, the connect. Who filled your head with those thoughts? Who seemed like an angel but really was the boogeyman? Talking in code honestly and recklessly. How much damage was done? Everyone is gone. Prison, death. Who knows, I've only heard of one story, of Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue with a screw. How he almost made the screw the glue to my eye. I don't know what stopped him. Maybe he remembered who I was and the moment he broke. Seeing too much and having to question so much about himself. He cried when I left him and said, "Thank you for everything you've done for me. No one has ever taken care of me like this. I know, brother, but I left you well off, but left others in the dirt of their own making. Who was the gardener and who was the plant? Who was the soil? What was the soil? What was the rain and sun that let each living thing grow to its true shape or the depth of itself? Only God knows. Only God knows." I can't look into your eyes. I can't see the light. Don't tell me the answers to the questions of your story. I'm not your friend. We are not fam. You are a snitch. You got an ego. You've lost your light. I already know the questions as to why. Because I died 1,000 times and came back. Do you know what it means to take all the breath out? Do you know when you let all the pressure out? your heart stops. I was addicted. Doing this while walking in the streets, Trenton, Newark, Asbury, New Brunswick, to name a few big towns, so many small towns. Just a lot of talking and a lot of nothing, or what I call nothing. Do you know when you take all the breath out? Do you know when you let all the pressure out while at work? When alone you have a hit break? I died 1,000 times to face death right in front of me. The thoughts I had to deal with, the pain I felt through my body. So I could care less about your stories and you could care less about mine. Because my story is about the living dead, and that's why it will give you light or take it away. Last one. What flowers do bees like the most? Is it the brightest or the smelliest? Will a flower survive in the desert? Yes. Will a flower survive underwater? Yes. So tell me what a flower and you have in common. We can survive, we did survive. What did we survive? How did we survive? Call it love. Why love when you're in hell? Because even in hell, a flower can grow. The flower in hell is the brightest and strongest of them all. But what let it grow? And what made it stay? Call it luck. Call it whatever you want. But don't say it's a lie. Don't say it didn't happen. Because the flower survived in the harshest of times. To find another of its kind, and how few there are. But when you find one like a clover, be that bee and pass the love.
Man, you're definitely winning like best hair.
First, I saw you and I was just like, wow, 10 out of 10. All right, I have a real quick announcement. The Arts Council of Princeton does an enormous amount of work, not just supporting the performance-based arts, but they also support working artists through exhibition spaces, opportunities for teaching workshops, and they also support artists by providing them with hubs for to integrate with the local economy here. Outside of the library right now, Thursday through Sunday from 12 to 6, they're doing an artist chalet, which is a really fancy word that I didn't know how to spell correctly. In essence, that means that there are artists, they have little tents, they're selling their wares. It's an excellent, excellent opportunity for you to buy things from people that you don't know what to get them. Support the local arts community, support Trenton, support Princeton. I know several people who are going to be selling there, so please do pop over and check it out. I'm sure there's flyers downstairs. That is my plug. Now my plug is over. Please put your hands together for a poem by Emily E.
Hi, I'm Emily. Hi. It's my first time sharing here. Who am I really? The one who loves to dance but doesn't want to learn the steps. Just dance and flow. The steps are in me, waiting to be released. The one who drinks in so much art, like too much wine, colors too bright. They say I'm oversaturated, and I am in the details of everything. I hear it sing, I hear it scream, I see it move, but like colors and shapes, not separate but together, dancing in the space. We all overlap, and I am lapping up all the spare change, like I could change my face and make them believe that I am them, so they could see me like I am me. And I could find my own rhythm of my own pen, and my own sketch wouldn't look like this. It would be so bright, the light would flood into the dark, darkest place, and the bats lit up would flutter in your face like butterflies, all golden and purple, with eyes that don't stare, and sounds would be everywhere. The sounds would be everywhere, and we'd dance in the river, fairies and otters and glitter, and broken pieces of everyone's hearts, collected in a bucket so long ago, now floating free like flowers caught in air, suspended on their way to their final resting place. When we die, can we rest? Like our minds won't let us sleep. In death, will it be quiet, or another kind of race, or another kind of peace? Will it be free? Will it be nothing? Who am I really? When I dance, I'm free. When I laugh, I feel like me. I am the one who sees everything wrong and everything right. Can't stop thinking, can't stop being. Too much, too tough, too soft, not enough. I'm collecting pieces of broken hearts. I keep mine in my chest, but it's spilling out again in flowers and thorns, and I can't tell which one of us is pricked. My mind is a garden, overgrowing. It doesn't need pruning, it just needs some space. It just needs the water and the sunshine and the earth and the wind in its leaves, giving it life. Do not dethrone me from myself, from my seat by this tree. At my core, I am whole, I am healing. Where my branches were cut into shapes of convenience, to get out of their way, they just need their space. Grow into the ethers, feel the breeze on my leaves. Who am I really? Part human, part plant, part glowing ball of energy, spending all my energy on making it look right to them, to me, to make it all make sense, to figure out the figuring. Who am I really? The part of me that loves like nothing can defeat me, from protecting anyone but me. Because she's a lost cause, I told myself, about myself. Just stop trying. You're wasting more time trying to find another wrong answer, leading in circles around the things you already know about laying in the sunshine, with a soft blanket, in the grass, with your music on or your music off, watching the birds, tasting the mint you pulled from the garden. Who am I really? Who's doing the asking? Like there's an answer to your life being temporary, always changing for the next thing to make sense, to fit in to a box you don't fit in. But who am I really if I look in?
All right, our next performer would like us to know it is about the journey, not the destination. You can find their work on YouTube at A.Benedict and Instagram at A.Benedict16. Put your hands together for Mr. A. Benedict.
We gave it up for Marc earlier. Let's give it up for Brass. It's very good to be back here. I haven't been here in a while. Casino Commission dropped the charges, so I'm The first one I'm going to read is called Acta Non Verba. Anybody understand Latin? Know Latin? Know what that means? Okay? So it's action, not words. And this is a story that anybody might have because they're tired of lip service. They're tired of hearing things. They want to see action from people. Action. Acta non verba. What can you show me? I don't mean tell me. I want visions of color that stream past slate gray skies. I desire to see truth, not merely hear about it. Wanting truth, no longer listening to your discord and distorted version of it. Action and not words. Actionable items about your overreaching tendencies as you creep into my yard with lies overgrowing, like the neighbor's tree hanging over the fence. Fake words infiltrating fertile fields without vestal virgin blessings. I don't want apologies or tears for your hurtful transgressions. I don't want patronizing rhetoric from self-inflicted rapture and revelation, your incessant telling without showing, hiding meaningful feelings, harmfully flowing. Truth's absence in your eyes, staring deep into my soul. Your falsetto, ways burning, taking an unnecessary toll. Action, not sorrowful excuses, with hollow meaning. Empathy expressions lacking truth, vapid verbiage without validity. Action, please show me. Action, please show me. My mind aching and body tired, your lack to act is simply exhausting as you take narcissism to lofty heights, mastering the art of pointless pontificating. I am done listening to your words, lies, evasiveness, spitefulness, and viciousness, used like the marble carved, chiseled, and sculpted to meaningless rubbish. I am done. This artist is done painting over dark skies with light and color from my own palette of truthfulness. I am done enabling your ruthlessness. It is time for action and not words. Please show me. Don't placate me. Don't lie to me. Please show me. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Thanksgiving's coming up. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, you and your families. So have a great time. So it's also the time when a lot of us do a lot of traveling. So that means airplanes. This is a story about one person's journey on an airplane. It's called Happy Traveling. 737 jet plane streaking into a pale blue late autumn sky, soaring above trees, buildings, birds, and clouds, gracefully, precisely, and regally. Inside the plane's cabin, anything but. Snoring, kicking, whining, and yelling, slobbering, sneezing, choking, and coughing, sounding more like a saddening tuberculosis ward for the dying. One would think the flight destination was a trip to a garbage dump or a root canal visit to the dentist. Happy traveling. Steel box cart down the aisle rolling, nearly severing appendages, stewardesses doling out tepid coffee and sawdust tasting cookies. My ears playing Pop Goes the Weasel as the pressure builds from the altitude climbing. The stratosphere is seemingly only an arm's length away. Settling down with Johnny Walker, drinking as I look at my watch. 5 more hours of this shit until we reach the garbage dump, flying in Dante's cylindrical metal level of hell. Happy traveling. Am I nervous about flying? Nobody would care even if they knew. As the large man beside me and I are engaging in an enraging boundary war over the armrest, drifting off to slumber, dreaming of a white sandy beach destination. But I quickly wake into much consternation as the kids screaming in my ear. My nerves shot with this flight unraveling. 4 more hours to go. Happy traveling. One more real quick one. It's called My Girl's Name. And maybe you'll guess it by the end of the poem. My girl glows glamorously, soft, velvety, and succulently sudsy. She's dark and rich, but not very expensive. She tastes like nectar from Mount Olympus. Her absence when she's gone, I unequivocally miss. Born at St. James Gate, she plays the harp so melodically. A touch of bitterness and bliss as I down her majestically. My girl's name is Guinness, and if that's what you guessed correctly. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, our next performer wanted us to know, I'm in the process of publishing my first book. Please put your hands together for Puck.
Hi, how is everybody doing? Good, great. All right. So, I have a friend. Well, actually, she's more like family. Let me get to the point. Her name is Bree. She's a funny and sweet person, filled with philosophical questions and silly anecdotes. And the reason I'm talking about her is she's looking for someone. She doesn't know who she's looking for, and when I asked her, she said, and I quote, "You'll know them when you find them. I asked her, how am I supposed to help you find someone when I don't know anything about them? But she just smiled and said, you'll know, trust me. I have a friend, Bree, and she is a riot. She can turn the dullest of meetings into a full-blown party. She can take a rainy, dreary day and turn it into a scene from a movie. She can make you laugh at a funeral. She is amazing, and yet she doesn't think so. I don't know how to help her. My offers of advice, of a shoulder to cry on, of an ear to listen are met with polite refusals and muttered apologies of not wanting to burden anyone. So I'm taking the initiative here and helping her anyway by trying to find the person she's looking for. You see, I snagged her diary and I have it right here. She has listed several important characteristics that her special someone must have, and so it goes. Must have a sense of humor. Oh, I totally get that. How are you going to spend every day with someone if you can't have a laugh at ridiculous shit with them? Totally understandable that that'd be a priority. Okay, what's next? Must be empathetic. Oh gosh, absolutely. I can't imagine going out to eat with anyone who doesn't tip well and pre-bus. And how hard is it to put your shopping cart back when you're done with it? Okay, before I go on an hour-long tangent, let's move on. Must think pineapple belongs on pizza, or at the very least respect those who think so. Oh my God, yes. I hate it when people judge my food choices, like, leave me and my well-done steaks alone. All right, let's see what else she's got here. Must have blue hair. Okay, that's a weird one. A little weirdly specific, but blue is a nice color, I guess. Maybe the next one is must be exactly 5'6½". Yeah, that's my height. Okay. Must wear crop tops and Crocs in the winter. Okay, I think we get the point. I am the person Bree is looking for. That's kind of weird considering Bree is me. Did I just say that out loud? Okay. Caught red-handed. I am the person I am looking for. This isn't a personal ad so much as a personal manifestation. I am who I need. You can do it too. Be the person you needed when you were younger, the person you need now. Repeat after me. I am who I need. I am who I need. Again. I am who I need. And third time's the charm. I am who I need. Thank you.
All right, up next to the mic for a poem. Please give it up for Joe McManus. Joe, come on up.
Hi, I'm Joe. I haven't been here before. I came bringing a couple of love poems and a couple of poems about angels, but hearing the other poems, I figured that it's more appropriate to get into some angels. The organized religions, just about every organized religion has angels, recognizes angels. These are ethereal creatures that herald that you're not alone. The first one is called solitude. They say I'm alone. Alone is not good, and I need the others. And that my own insecurity is the problem, and I'm self-destructive, and I'm beginning to separate from reality. But I'm not alone. I'm with my thoughts and inspirations, and they don't know I'm in the arms of an angel. She's got pearl white wings, long thin legs, soft breasts. She whispers such thoughts in my ear that I never heard out there, and I try to write them down, but ink and air don't mix. She leaves me in the day and returns on a gentle breeze at night. And those poor, busybody souls just don't understand that their reality and security are nothing, and sad it is that they never reach out to ask for an angel's embrace. The second one happened when I walked out of my house one day and a wild thunderstorm was coming through. It was really loud, and I wrote, "Fiery Angels." A storm just blasted by my door. Fiery angels, I think, on a mission to save some poor soul. Tears streaming down her face, lost to so many memories of wildflowers in a Virginia meadow, a velvet ribbon round her neck, a smile on her face and love in her eyes. so very, very long ago. These fiery angels are embracing her now and telling her that the sun will warm her face in the morning. Those tears will make those eyes sparkle again, for there are days ahead and chances to love once more. Final one is just about acceptance. Enough. I just don't get it. Days go by with nothing happening as I sit here just getting older. There's got to be a stop button somewhere, a time where you start to drift off to fragrant springs in a field of wildflowers and lost summer nights with the sea lapping at your toes and putting up your collar against the chill autumn breezes and trying to catch a leaf falling in the woods. Then the first snowflake touching your face as you look up at the silver sky. Enough. I'm waiting for redemption, for that angel over there in the corner to walk up, wings unfolded, whisper in my ear that time is endless. The flowers, the waves, the leaf, the snowflake are all there waiting for you to get up and accept that they will be there in the morning if you just stop crying and let it all unfold. And finally, for those people who think that there's a confused world out there, one thing that I take solace in is rose-colored glasses. I told myself I wasn't ever going to pull those old rose-colored shades out of the bottom drawer again. But I'm feeling so blue it just doesn't help looking at life without color. The rain is pouring down, so a walk would be good, and it really isn't that far under these conditions to catch that rainbow before night settles in.
All right, our next performer is all the way from Charlotte and has recently moved to PA. Put your hands together for Heather Smith.
This one's called Ignite. From an ember glowing bright, fire erupts, flame ignites, lapping high into the air, blazing long into the night, dying down, kindling simmers, returns to embers. The next was a true story that took place in Memphis, Tennessee, very close to Graceland, on Poplar Street, and it's called the Poplar Street Kidnapping. I'm 56, to put this in perspective. So it was like 1972, and Elvis still lived in Graceland. Anyway, he's not in it. At 3, Mom put me on the front porch, just me and Ember. Yes, my little friend's name was Ember. What a coincidence. Anyway. Together we watched as the older kids played. War was their game. A girl in 6th grade headed Team USA. My sister was bored, so she and Renee went to her apartment to play. Ember's mom had her come in time for her nap to begin. Mama was busy doing her work. Now was my chance to play with the troop. The lead girl charged at me, yelling, "Prisoner!" I couldn't believe she was kidnapping me. She picked me up and ran fast. We arrived at her apartment at last. So messy, I could only think Grandmama would not approve, but then she asked me to choose between 2 soups, chicken noodle or tomato. Tomato, I said, and grilled cheese. She smiled and said, okay, just say please. So I obliged and we ate together. She chattered on about the weather. When we were done, she took me home. I sat down upon my porch. My sister Pam came back out. Ember returned to sit with me. My mom brought us cookies. It was as if the kidnapping never happened. And that's the Poplar Street Kidnapping. This next one is called Waves. Consider the wave. It comes and it goes, forms that beautiful bow. unfurls and crashes against the surf, then disappears back into the sea. You see it coming from far away. It builds and builds until it breaks. If you're out swimming, you get caught in the wake. So powerful a force is the wave, yet it does what it does, for that's how it's made. And my dad, this one's called Bilbo. And my dad is a man of a lot of different trades that involve costumes. So he was a minister and a teacher, and for a while a sheriff and an army officer. So anyway, my dad, he was an interesting guy, and he always told us that he was a hobbit. My dad had us convinced that he was a hobbit just like Bilbo, but he was a special breed, for he also donned some wizardry. His proof? As for his hobbit blood, fur grew on his feet. He loved to go out on adventures. He even had a magic ring, and if he took it off, he would disappear. We couldn't take the chance that he would dissipate into thin air. His case for wizard blood was just as good. Not only could he perform tricks, like turning the shower on when Mama ran our bath, or taking his finger off and putting it right back, he could make rings of smoke come up from his pipe, blow smoke rings too, one through another to our delight. So I guess it's true. Daddy's related to Gandalf and Bilbo too.
All right, our next performer is an English teacher at a Christian school in PA. Another PA person, please put your hands together for John Nestor.
Thank you. This is my first time being here and speaking here. It's a great privilege to be here. I love Princeton. It's a very inspiring town for me to come and write and just read. And I can walk around with books and not feel like an outsider. It's great. This first poem is called On the Eve of the Death of a Friend. I wrote this over the summer on a close friend of the family's last night on Earth. A makeshift locomotive can only take you so far. Then the steam runs out. Or a rail with no track nails pins you in the dirt before your mind has time to think. Or your heart has room enough for one more gruff moment when hope seems less than what life promised. And you remember the words of the sleepy conductor. Unattended coupling rods can't be trusted. Then you remember that you thought you were awake, and lateness cannot wait. So what is there to do but live within the pain, knowing that repaired lines keep things going, and there isn't an end in sight. Thank you. I have one more poem. I just wrote this tonight over at Small World Coffee. I don't know if I really like it or not, but I just figured, Princeton's inspiring, so I'll just go ahead and read this to you. Untitled. Petering downward into despair. I hate the man I am because I'm not good enough. This is what I wanted to say. But I'm kept from it by a something. It lingers around me, waiting for permission. It sounds creepy, I know, but it's there, just waiting for the yes in me to ignite, to release and receive. I know who it is. The fear in me, rooted in pride, must be burned away. I don't know how, or I don't want to know. In any case, the something is still there, circulating with percolating energy, eager to erupt me out of my incredulous apathy. But, like a proper gentleman on a leisurely Sunday stroll, I surrender a nod with the tip of my cap and wish it the most pleasant of mornings.
a date at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I showed up and he did not. But that's okay, because you can still look at the paintings at the Met, like just by yourself. And there's this one painting there, and it's the sculptor Pygmalion clutching the statue that will then become a woman. And I was looking at it and I was thinking how she must feel, you know, becoming born basically in the arms of this man who created her but who she doesn't really know. I was thinking of how trapped she must feel, and in that moment I was happy to be alone. This poem is called Pygmalion's Wife Confronts a Vase. Women starve themselves to look like me, poor things. Can't see the way my skin betrays me, patterned with the notches of scorned fingernails. All soft like unfired clay, porous and raw, he wanted his ivory girl, paralyzed in a stoic grip, cool to the touch. But the gods wanted children. For what good is 1,000 years if it ends in a gravestone clutching a pillar of dust? I think he gets off to me weeping each night. I can sense it, lying frozen in the undercurrents, dreaming only of how the forest bends and sways with a single breath. You wouldn't understand, having such kinship with the silverware. Must have taken a lot to make me, huh? Special girl, 50 dead elephants dancing in the corners of my eyes. When he kills me, they'll be all lined up for their second slaughter, bursting through my chest to stampede around the house. I doubt you'll survive. Perhaps it's all for the best. All right. Just so you know, I'm reading this Saturday, 7 p.m., George Street Co-op, New Brunswick. Be there. I got one more. This is a new one. I don't know if anyone here likes to buy votive candles at Walmart, but they have one, and it's just titled The Alleged Lucky Flame, and there's not like a saint or an angel, it's just, this poem's for the alleged lucky flame. Tonight is a blitz of lottery tickets, and whipping the dog until its broken spine can be mistaken for devotion. Tonight I am bare, shivering, glue-trapped against the world. My bones cannot take this mystery. Lucky flame, here is my prayer. I will know when the knife will enter me again. I know how to keep the barren wolf at bay, and in my newfound bloodshed, I become specter and butter. Look, one day my breath will come easy. I will know what to look forward to, the warmth of 1,000 hands that cannot hurt me, swimming in a river that stretches as far as an open wound. But tonight I cozy up to the demon of wishbone longing, because all my gods are drowning in the pitch of spoiled chance, and the six-sided sickness I am guilty of. Can't your faith stand a little hunger? I shake my head, light my candle, stomach settling heavy in the tar.
All right, up next for a poem, please put your hands together for our dear friend, Jeff Hansel. Jeff, come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've got 4 poems to read this evening. The first one is called Canal Walks. Along the towpath, under the changing leaves, the waning warmth of the sun, another autumn of my life under the watchful eye of God. Change happens. Life is supposed to. Seasons come as quickly as they go. If you're waiting for your life to be just so, I'm sorry, it won't. Just make sure you walk along through each season. It's not you, just enjoy the view. Don't fret over the reason. Things may seem dry now, but water will soon flow into your life with an abundance that you never before dreamed. Don't wait, keep walking. Your season will be here much quicker than it seems. This next one is called Time and Space. Both are infinite. We try to count it, but fall way too short. One other dimension that also comes from above gets too easily overlooked, and that is love. Love is infinite in its own way. The more you share it, the more you give it to others, you'll find that you have that much more. And my third one is called Praying at the Bus Stop. A leaf tornado springs up, car horns, trucks belching plumes of exhaust, manhole covers spewing steam. I'm just trying to speak to God. Hey taxi, a car door slams. Fuck you, buddy, I was here first. What did I just kneel in? Sirens blaring, jackhammers chiming in rhythmically, music coming from a guy riding by on a bike, praying at the bus stop. And my last but not least is called Court of Shame. No longer do you preside over my thoughts, my life, my decisions, or anything else out or inside. I know who I am. No longer will I feel the need to deny or my own desires to cast aside. No, I was born to be who I am right now. No more feeling kept on a shelf. I never dreamed that it would take so long to find myself. I really wish you could see what I'm really like when I'm me. The jury's out, the verdict is in. No more living with a frown. I'm facing everything with a grin.
All right, we're down to our last micro story of the evening. We're getting to the final performers. If your stomach is rumbling, we will be closing shortly. Tell us about a time you surprised yourself. I hide snacks and money from myself sometimes. By the time I find them, I've forgotten I hid them in the first place. All right, please put your hands together for our next performer. Who would like us to know I have yet another new hat? Come on up here, Corinne.
Hey guys, nice to see everybody. Do you ever go to a poetry event and just get what you need? That's how I feel tonight. I have a poem that I wrote a while ago, actually maybe a year ago or something, and I brought it back out because there's a certain way that a poetry can remind you of who you were, but also who you are. And I wanted to just kind of read this one. I'm selfishly doing this for myself, guys. This has nothing to do with you. So, I mean, you can listen if you want, but I'm doing this for me. All right. These days, each breath is a rebirth of love. It is the slow beat of recovery, the pulse of awakening, and exhausted, inextinguishable hope. Now it seems even the smallest things are begging to be remembered: a stick, a bowl of lint, a nub of burnt incense. The hope I see in them is so tiny and tight. Each breath I take, each crack of light. All people in all time, in all nations, have known each and every one of your fears. We just forget this, as if now was the only now that has ever been. The truth is, bombs have dropped on everyone's house. Death has visited everyone's home. The heart beats blood and love in everyone, even the little ones. Even the cat and the woodpecker, the chickadee, who is always underestimated and miffed, because on my morning walks, I'm imagining the royalty of the robin in India, listening to their women who are never not broken. Filled with kinship, I sing, if you don't have a horror to hold on to remind you how to care for others near and far from where you are. If it was taken from you, remember your mothers or your grandmothers, or see all that the falcon has seen, or ask the birch what it knows. Look into the speechless, paralyzed heart buried in your father's wild eyes. See what he saw that day on the beach. It's never ending, inextinguishable, sacred remembering. All stories can be true, but we all get to choose. And we have a right to remember the truth. And at the same time, may all these stories dissolve, the ones woven over centuries as they should at a time like this. And I am imagining what I'd do, what I'd choose after all these rainbows and friends and flowers, panic and pens, pencils and paintings with colors so bright I thought they could save the world. And I think I'd love to hear the poetry of everyone here, of everyone I've ever met. But I'm just calling on the elders of love, all of them the holders of hope, carrying the most ancient wisdom that there is only what is. Kindness is the only thing that holds you up at the edge of a day, at the edge of a life. Let us all praise it again. Despite the guns aimed at our heads, across all nations and all people, all together now let's pray until there's nothing left to hide and there are no more lies. May all beings be free from suffering and the root of suffering. May all beings breathe and be free. May all beings be kind and courageous and lay down their guns at the edge of their lives. And may new roots in the old earth mend our love. I've loved beyond measure and seen so much disappear. But our hearts hold up the bridge between who we are now and who we want to be. The right to remember is in the palm of our hands. May fear be the first thing that you forget, and may love be the last. Step into life again with wild, irrational hope after each and every end. Thank you.
All right, up next, put your hands together, please, for the one and only Woody Karski-Wilson.
Oh my God, what happened to the crowd? This is not a judgment statement, but the ones who left evolutionary dead ends, you are Darwin's victims. And you may go forth and multiply after this event, but with consent. So, I was going to do three. I'll do two poems here. The first one's a romance, campus security. By the way, all the other poems tonight seem to have meaning. Mine have none. So they're just enjoy them. So you slid to the side out of my range of vision, then slipped back into position where your white body with green letters did not stand out too much. You are campus security. Do they still call you pubic safety, like when I was a snot-nosed college student? And you have any real function, checking doors to make sure they're locked, following a checklist, but not carrying a Glock? Because you're not to be trusted with a gun, do you have any effect? Would you best be unfunded, struck like a clerical error from the rolls? You sit there in the shadows of insufficient tree limbs, baking in the sun. You watch with just the rim of your headlight shining white, one more symptom of LED weirdness. In our society, lights are no longer binary, on or off. They have a million middle states that we cannot control. Do you want to control me? Or does the modern citizen vex you like LEDs vex me? I wonder, but as I turned to look one last time, you're gone. I didn't even see you leave. Surely this is the end of the matter. But no, this poem has a sequel. You pulled back into park and I saw you do it. With a sly manner, you slid back into your space like Well, like many metaphors, it feels inappropriate to voice. It was nothing a whim. You drove off, you returned for some reason unknown, a vagary, but now your lights are flashing, not in a pursuit way, but dare I say, an inviting way? Could it be that campus security is flirting with me? You do have an honest white coat of paint. I had not noticed before, but the green letters complement the yellow bold stripe. Bold. Yes, that best describes you, I think. Bold colors, but you're just a mall cop. You could be a Segway. You could be unfunded. No, I corrected myself, be fair. This is campus security, and they are bold. I swallow and sit back, take up the novel I'm reading again, eyes glancing to the side view mirror. I haven't come right out and stared yet, because unlike your lettering, I'm not so bold, but maybe after a few pages, I look up to see your lights still flashing. That's not wise. I saw them flash the first time. You made your feelings apparent, and I'm not indifferent, but these things take time. Give me some time. My son came back. Did I mention that's why I was waiting in my car? I'm not homeless. Is it okay that I have a son? What do you think about children? Does that change our relationship? It's not funny. I can't look over to say goodbye. It would be too obvious. And now I'm the one driving off. The last I see, you're still there thinking of what might have been. Your lights are still flashing. And finally, what could be funnier than rich people planning for the apocalypse and how they will happily abandon us to survive it? So, it really is funny. The coming collapse. Remember that e-missive written by your wife and how the coming collapse could change your life, and you must prepare for the fated day, maybe stocking some food and money away. And remember how you responded quick and bold, suggesting a bag stuffed with Krugerrand gold shoved in a mattress down by the feet, the covers fireproof treated, nice and neat, but it doesn't stop there. No, use that stash to buy an island with the resulting cash. And don't forget, while the world does collapse, it's your duty to repopulate. Be patriarch, perhaps. And since the world's death might make you depressed, you'll need good breeding stock scantily dressed. Don't laugh, Dr. Strangelove had it right. This necessary harem your wife can oversee, for which 2 coconuts a day she will be paid, not 3. And there are locals with strong arms and backs who can provide whatever else you lack. That was your plan, a good plan. Months have passed. So here's a quick update, a small setback as you ventured to plan your noble attack. You assumed the natives were a simple crew, not sophisticated Princetonians like me and you. So employing them would be cheap, you thought. Just use some trinkets or colored glass and they'd be bought. But it turns out, when you made contact, those plans were dismissed, even sacked. Their negotiator laughed and quipped, "Oh, valiant white lion, use PayPal, Bitcoin, or Venmo. Keep your trinkets in glass, that's our stance, and it's union rates, paid 2 weeks in advance." So the labor issue is still a work in progress. And as for desirable women, you discovered on Bing that the Swedish bikini team is not really a thing. One last note, and this is just how it goes. Coconuts grow most everywhere except the island you chose. I know, after the apocalypse, those poor rich survivors will at some point run out of martinis, and I weep for them. See you next month.
All right, our next performer will be sharing a story. Just so happens to be a birthday girl, and I'm so excited to hear what she has to say. Put your hands together for Suze!
Sleepy and hungry and older, just because my birthday's coming. That's what I meant. I'm not trying to be mean.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's the day after tomorrow. Okay, so the story I'm going to tell is a little Thanksgiving-y, a little not, and it's pretty raw, so kind of just buckle up. Many of my stories, as if you guys know me, some of my stories make me cry. So this one might make me sob, but I'm trying to like normalize public sobbing because like,
hell yeah.
You know, like if you see somebody, like I've sobbed outside and people just kind of walk by awkwardly, you know, but I feel like if you see somebody like really upset outside, you can't fix it, they can't fix it, right? Just sit next to them. Just ask if you can sit next to them or something. But then, anyway, that's my thing. So anyway, so I might cry. Okay, so when my daughter was little, she was deeply attached to her Bert doll. And you remember Bert, right? With the pointy yellow face and the stripy shirt and the nasal voice and the probable life partner, and that was fine. We were all fine with that. My daughter had this Bert doll, and he was always shoved under her little sweet-smelling armpit, you know, like smells like Play-Doh and that Cabbage Patch right out of the box and like a little bit of joy. And then that big chunka-munka arm that she had, you know, and she was always like this, walking around the house, and with Bert. Bert was always with her. And, you know, I knew that if Bert wasn't around sometime, we would have a big old mess, right? There was gonna be, somebody was gonna be upset, and it was probably gonna be me. So I didn't want to screamy fit. So my mom was a dummy, but I'm no dummy. She didn't raise a dummy. So I got a second Bert as a backup for just such an occasion. The other thing that my daughter was deeply addicted to was her Nana. So my husband's family, they all had nicknames for each other. Mom was Nana long before she was a Nana. I guess she was hopeful. And then Dad was the big guy with the article, not big guy, the big guy. And his sister Robin went by Bird, because why would you want to be called your name? And then his other sister was named Judy, but she went by Duty, because why wouldn't you want to be called a piece of poop? And so, so Nana did not really abide by me. So she would call it every single day. She loved her granddaughter so much, she would call every single day and go, "Hi, Suzanne, how's the baby?" And I'd go, "Hey, Nana, I'm good too, thanks." And she'd say, "Can I just talk to the baby?" And so, like, they were just like this, the two of them. And, but we always had to go to their house because Nana was afraid. She'd always thought she was gonna die in a car accident, inexplicably. Just one of these things. She just thought she was gonna die in a car accident. So Nana and the big guy would never travel more than like 2 miles from the house for like 20 years. There was like a 2-mile radius from the house. They might go to the diner, the ubiquitous diner in New Jersey, maybe like Sunday morning breakfast or something, but that was it. Maybe the super fresh, you know, like the article, right? The super fresh. So it kind of was a surprise when Robin actually rented a house somewhere in Bumfuck, Pennsylvania, and invited them to come for Thanksgiving dinner. And we were like, they're never going. Because A, you have to drive more than 2 miles, and B, it's the baby's second Thanksgiving. There's no way they're going, right? But they did. So the big guy and Nana drive to Bird's house. And they get there, everything's fine. You know, big sigh of relief. Thanksgiving dinner, it's all great. And then the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, they go out to do some tag sailing. I call it tag sailing, you guys probably call it yard sailing. They go to do some of that and they pick up some tchotchkes for the farmhouse, you know, this, that, and the other thing, a little bookcase. Throw it in the back, it's gonna look so cute next to the front door, a little picture of Mackenzie on it, you know, maybe Bert, right? And so they're driving back from yard sailing and they hit a deer. And then they hit a tree. And they're in a Volvo station wagon, right? It's a tank. It's like the old C-70s or whatever they're called, right? Like, so the car just basically shimmies. Didn't even lose any paint. Like, it's fine, right? Bird's fine. The big guy's fine. A little shaken up. Nana's in the back seat. She should be perfect, right? Well, the bookcase came forward and took the back of her head off.
Oh my God, what? Oh my.
So, she didn't die there. She was airlifted. And we got a call, and Rich and I had to drive there to East Bumfuck, Pennsylvania, to find them. And he was able to, be with her when she passed. All my stories are true, by the way. My husband, Rich, really wanted Mackenzie to go to the services because it was her Nana. And I wasn't sure, but we said yes. So Mackenzie put on we got her dressed in her little black velvet dress that was supposed to be for Christmas pictures at JCPenney, but we used it for the services. And so we got there, and we were sitting in the back, Mackenzie, maybe in the front, I guess, I don't remember. And Mackenzie was watching everybody go up to say goodbye to Nana. And she got up, and she was 20 months old. She got up, she and Bert walked towards the casket, and she walked up on the little step. Then she put Bert into the casket. And she didn't know that she had another Bert, you know, for just such an occasion. So thanks.
All right, our final performer of the evening, who was exceptionally patient and deserves a pat on the head. They would like us to know, my son passed the GED. Please put your hands together for Michelle Downey. The GED was 4 years coming, so I'm very happy. I'm Michelle Downey, a friend of Woody's, and I am reading two poems written by him. I hope you enjoy, and FYI, the notes between are his as well. So for this poem, I ask what thoughts might lurk behind the eyes of people we see every day, and it's titled Beeline Vanilla. Ye gods, she missed the boat, so I cackle perverted glee. In fact, all fully glow. She thought me introverted, shy, placid intentions, conventional, oh my. Don't mention, I thunk such thoughts that light of day would cringe to hear the deed. Binged my greedy needs, seeks became soughts, desire took flight, and need made right my love like movie sex. Been there, done that, do it well, and what the hell, I only fly to spy hell's ravines far below a fire. So, she saw what others see of me, vanilla, beeline, fleeing, school with kids in tow. It's all they know, and I hope they shall, and I hope they ever shall know. And my second poem, which is not my poem, how many mega gosh new names can we invent for the weather and the sky? When is the next super blood harvest ultramoon going to appear? And it's called The Supermoon Cometh. Passing close to Earth on far side, a meaningless matter of math and mechanics, but still I feel the pull. Drawing nigh, heavier heaven sent, but banished, baleful Earth, nonetheless full. Fills itself with light, empties to the night, fills me to the brim beyond, pressure valve warnings primed to explode. Scattering flimsy, good intent, like spent balloons, trampling convention under tank tread, desires let howling off their leash. All I can do is hold fragments together, a fine skein of quivering glue stretching tight against the million-year night. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to be so honest with all of you. My phone was on 7% when we started. I've been watching it die slowly, and I was quite worried that we weren't going to make it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for our listeners, our performers. Thank you to Marc. All right, I got two things to say. The first thing, tip to do anything. If you would like to tip though, we have Giving Tuesday coming up. I know, it's like we've got Black Friday and then we have Monday, and then Giving Tuesday is another thing. It's an opportunity for you if you would like to send the Arts Council of Princeton $20 and wink at them. You can. So please keep that in mind. Go check out their website, check out their Instagram. There are tons of avenues for you to be able to do that, not just hand them cash, whatever, all the digital apps, so on and so forth. So please, Giving Tuesday, if you want to support us, support the Arts Council of Princeton. We're going to be back here on December 19th. We got a theme for you all. That is the gift that keeps on giving. If any of you have been here before, you know that we're exceptionally strict about our themes, which we are not. So come even if you don't know what that's supposed to mean. I am so eternally grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your month. Woo! Have a great night.